I think it was before I started
Mm,
recording, so it wasn't something you would have reviewed. Oh no, you froze. Okay, you're
no.
back. Oh no, you're gone. I can hear you. Can you hear me? You're back.
I know.
Were you transitioning to
Was
your
the
phone?
recording?
What was that?
Was it recording the whole time that I
Yeah.
like left and came back?
Mm.
Oh my god, that's going in.
Nice.
Hello and welcome to the Nerdy Wordy, a show where we will talk about a lot of things such as there are too many Darths in Star Wars. We are your hosts. I am Robert.
I'm Billy.
And we have a lot to get to for this episode. We got comic book pickups that I have. We got a lot of them because we've been on a hiatus for the last week because we've been very busy. But we're going to be back today. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff.
We
We
were
got
doing
something
moon
from
stuff.
Billy. We're going to do moon stuff
Yeah,
on the moon doing secret projects.
exactly.
We got something from Billy this week.
We got three somethings. Oh yeah.
Three something. I'm so excited to see what you're going to do.
You have to wait and find out. Wait till the end.
So, do you feel like there's too many Darths in Star Wars, Billy?
Okay. What do you mean by darts? First of all, just
So, like, so there's too many people named Darth. Darth
oh,
Vader,
Darth.
Darth
Okay.
Maul.
I thought you said dart, like
No,
DART, like Nerf darts.
no. No.
Like there's darts in Star Wars. Um,
Blasters have darts, obviously. Those energy beams, they're just high energy darts.
I thought that's what you were talking about.
No.
And I was like,
Too
there are
many
a lot of
darts.
those. Yeah, I guess. Um, there are. I never really thought about that. There are a
Like,
lot of
even
them.
Count Dooku is named a Darth.
That's true. Because I there is a lot of Darths, but I do think when like one of the villains isn't a Darth, people are like,
Hmm.
well, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like Kylo
Like,
Ren
Count
wasn't.
Count Dooku is a Darth, but then like General Grievous is just a general, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't hold the same oomph,
Yeah.
right?
And of course Darth means like dark Lord of the Sith,
Hmm.
I believe.
Like the opposite
So
of Jedi, like a Jedi Master,
basically,
and
yeah. So
that.
but can like we get much more important names because like whenever you say Darth, it's like, is it really intimidating to me? Not really. Like, ooh, it's the Darth man, you know. I'm so
Is
scared.
Jedi intimidating, or
Oh
is
yeah.
yeah
I'd be
Jedi
intimidated
Master?
by a Jedi.
Jedi does have like some sort of oomph to it though that
Yeah.
the other one doesn't.
Like
I
in
don't
The
know why.
Mandalorian, it's like we need to see a Jedi. Like, ooh, we're gonna go see a Jedi. Who's the Jedi, you know? But if
Yeah,
you hear Darth, it's like meh.
all I can
Mirth.
think of is in The Big Bang Theory when they're watching Back to the Future,
Mhm.
and Raj is like, "What kind of name is Boof?" Sounds like when you open a
Sounds
can of Pillsbury dough and it
dumb.
just goes. Poof. That's all I can think of right now.
Like,
Uh,
what is Darth if not? Look at this Darth. So intimidating.
I love the face he made. Oh my god. Oh, okay.
You like that one, Billy?
I like that one.
Thought of it all by myself.
Oh, I can't wait to see that in the highlights.
It's gonna go in right in the episode.
Oh yeah. Ooh. So what do you think? Are there too many?
Yep, way too
Yep,
many.
way too many.
Darth Vader and Darth Maul.
That's
Darth
all you need.
Sidious as well. Those are the three. You can't because they're not intimidating enough. Every other Darth is not intimidating enough. You know, Count Dooku's not really intimidating. Like, ooh,
Not
Count Dooku
really.
is much better named Count Dooku, not Darth, whatever his name is. I forget.
Yeah, I no clue.
I remember I had to look it up. I was like, is he a Darth? He's a Darth, but like Count Dooku, much more intimidating.
Better off the way he's called.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't we get into the main part of the episode, which let's start off with the first word, because today we're going to be amalgamating the two episodes that we have seen of Falcon and Winter Soldier, episodes 4 and 5. We're not going to do recaps because, for the sake of time, I think everybody here has probably seen those episodes by the time this episode has come out that wants to see it. So we're just going to hit on the main points that we found to be very interesting in the last two episodes. And Billy, I feel like it is my sole duty to make you be the first word person today because I know that these two episodes have had a large impact on the character of this Captain America.
Oh
You're
my
the
god.
big Uber Captain America fan, so I feel like you have the strongest opinions on this.
What's funny is when you say that, I don't know how I feel, which is the
Really?
funniest part. Um, because like so much like if we're just gonna talk about the Shield for a minute, it has such a history now. I mean, this name is so apropos for it
Mm-hmm.
because everything that happened, everything that's happened with it, especially in the last two episodes, is just huge. Like I remember Falcon saying he wants to destroy the shield in episode 2, I think, at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, well, no, let's not be too hasty about that, you know? Like it still has a
Mm-hmm.
good legacy. Let's just widen it a little bit. But now it's kind of like it has like a more tainted feel to it,
Mm-hmm.
at least in some parts of it. But then we see like Falcon's nephews playing with the shield, and we see them like playing catch with Sam and Bucky playing catch with the shield, and it kind of reinvigorated it. Like it feels like it's gonna hold more than it did before,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I really have to say. For the first word. It's gonna be a lot more to talk about, but that's my first word.
Yeah.
Now, what's yours? I'm interested to hear what you say.
Yeah. So mine has nothing to do with Captain America because I wanted to leave that whole subject to you.
And then
My
I didn't
big
touch it.
thing, exactly. My big thing was that for the episode 4, I was like, I knew Baron Zemo was gonna double cross him and escape, and it's like, aha, I was right. I was right to be suspicious. I was right to be sus about him. But then we see him in episode 5, and then he gets the justice that he basically deserves, you know. And he's
Yeah.
he's not going to be going out with a fight. He's going to be, accepting of his fate, and I think he's understanding of that. And I think it's a good way to end the character if that is the last time we see him in this series. That's the good way to end for his character, good way to get into the introduction, be a part of the main plot, and then fizzle off so that way the main characters get their due in the last episode.
Mhm. I agree. Yeah. It's interesting because it still leaves the possibility for him to somehow come back because he's just gonna go live in
Mhm.
isolation. It's
Well, I don't think he's going to be living in a very nice place. I
no,
don't think it's going to be nice for him.
no,
It's
it's
not going
gonna
to be like, oh, we'll be able to visit him one day. He's going to be lounging on the beach. No, I don't think the Wakandans are going to be acting too nice to him.
no. I mean, like he could escape or something.
I
Like
don't think so.
I don't know.
Wakanda's too good at that kind of stuff.
That's true.
So why don't we get into just the main points of the last two episodes? Because I feel like these last two episodes have had a lot of impact and a lot
Yeah.
of things that we could definitely want to talk about. So let's just skip ahead to the finale of episode 4, because this is the part that I really wanted to hear your opinion on. Because not to be a Debbie Downer, I kind of knew this was going to happen because of leaked footage that I accidentally saw on a video. But
Uh,
seeing it actually happen in the episode still was like, he actually
like,
did that.
yeah.
And like Marvel's not is the same way with Star Wars as well with Disney. Is that they don't really show a lot of blood in these shows and movies. But this one was pretty blood and gore, and I was like, Billy must not like this, especially if it's on Captain America's shield.
Yeah.
Especially that.
It was very hard to process. And
Mm,
once again, I'm not really sure how to think about the whole thing right now
mm,
because I still think he means well. Deep, deep down, he means well.
mm,
He just doesn't have composure
mm,
and is getting a little attached to how great he's becoming, kind of thing.
mm,
Because he is always wearing the suit until he got forced to take it off. He keeps saying,
mm,
like, he keeps identifying with the shield and everything, just the whole thing.
mm,
He wouldn't give it up when Sam and Bucky asked. There's this whole fight scene with it,
mm,
but I still feel like deep down he means well. He's just not doing good.
mm,
Like in well, throughout the last 2 weeks, there's been like a lot of showing how Steve Rogers becomes Captain America and all that stuff, how the
mm,
progression goes, and how in the first Captain America, there's a quote that I have on a magnet downstairs. Actually, it's not a good man. No, I'm sorry, not a perfect soldier, but a good man. So I'll say that
mm,
one more time because I messed it up the first time. Not a perfect soldier, but a good man. And that's kind of how Steve Rogers was. Wasn't necessarily a perfect soldier. He didn't. I mean, he was pretty good, right? But
mm.
he just did what was right. And yeah, I don't really know what to say other than that. It's kind of all over
Well,
the place. I don't know how to feel because I'm really
so
upset that that happened to the Shield.
let me ask you the question. Do you think he was justified in his anger and rage to kill someone that did not actually kill Lamar Hoskins?
No, not at all, at all. Even if that
So
was the
what
person
if
who did it, still not.
okay. So you definitely think that like do you think that like his persona as being Captain America has gotten to him a little bit?
What do you mean by gotten to him?
So like we see in these two episodes that he doesn't really refer to himself as John Walker. He refers to himself as Captain America. Even when he's on like he's at the committee trying to plead his case when they're
Mhm,
stripping him of being Captain America, he's literally exclaiming, "I am Captain America."
mhm.
So do you think that like this mentality of like he is now Captain America and there's nobody else that can be Captain America, do you think that's kind of brainwash him into thinking that every single choice and decision that he makes is right?
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like, say Steve Rogers came to you or Thor came to you or something, and
Mhm,
because they're both worthy people, if they came to you
mhm,
and said, "We need you to do this," and say
mhm,
that I'm not quite sure what they'd ask you to do, but either way, if they asked you to do it, you wouldn't even think. You'd be like, "Okay, that it's done for a good reason." You would just kind of do it, probably.
Mhm.
just because the person who they are, you would trust them.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of happening, except not with so if you do that with Steve Rogers and Thor, they're always
Mhm.
going to have it from a good place, from a moral place, from their heart, from it, it is a right action, whatever they would ask you to do. So at some
Mhm.
point, it's kind of, well, yes, you have to make sure that you're okay with it, but listening to them, you know that you're in good hands, kind of thing, and you kind of take that for
Yeah.
granted. And now in this case, it's taken for granted, but they're not in good hands,
Mhm.
and his hands are his own, which makes it more complicated because he's kind of brainwashing himself to thinking he can do no wrong, which is
Right.
very slippery slope. I agree with you.
So like I definitely see in the last two episodes, definitely as a retrospective, that like you can see the de-evolution of his psyche basically.
Yeah.
Because we see him enter in the fourth episode with Lamar Hoskins and he's like trying to get to Carly Morgenthau. And he's trying to do it his way, but then like Sam is like, there's a better way to do this and better way to handle her and
Hmm.
have some empathy towards her instead of just arresting her and being violent, you know?
Yeah.
So even though he allows him to do that, he still doesn't want to play by those rules and he still wants to do it his own way. And that's why she's able to escape. And that's why ultimately Lamar died, was because of his actions that caused her to, kind of, it's kind of like a dog in a corner, it's gonna bite you in order to escape,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
I definitely feel that, like, especially when he was interacting with the Dora Milaje, he was like, "Huh, I'm Captain America. How you doing?" It's like, you're not Captain America,
Yeah.
and that doesn't mean nothing to these two
Yeah.
highly trained warriors. And it showed because, like, he was like, "Hey, we got off on the wrong foot." And it's like, "Don't touch the Dora Milaje because you're gonna get your ass whooped." And guess what happened? He got his ass whooped.
Yeah. I think that's
And
also part of it because you identify so much with it
mhm,
and then like gets beaten up pretty bad.
right.
I mean, even Sam, I mean, they are extremely good at what they do. Sam and Bucky even kind of get themselves handed to them. I don't know how the
Right.
saying goes, but they even kind of like get beat in the fight.
Because, like, you have to remember that these are probably the most skilled warriors on the entire planet, you
Mhm.
know? So even though he's like, "Oh my god, they weren't even super soldiers," it's like, yeah, but it's like me saying, like, I can't outrun, like, the Green Berets. Like, I'm sorry, but they're, like, way better than me at doing the things that I'm doing. So, like,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna compete. And it's like, you can't compete either. You're a soldier, but yet these people are vastly more superior to you in every single way. So you
yeah,
can't really feel bad about that. But that
yeah,
ultimately led him to having the super soldier serum, which again, it's like you're just trying too hard to be Captain America and you're not trying to be the symbol that you're supposed to be. You're trying to be Captain America. You're getting that mentality in your head. And I
yeah.
think it's getting to him.
I agree. Um, with that said, though, with a quick interjection, because I think it'd be
Mhm.
kind of interesting. So I asked you, I think, off camera before, but I'm going to ask you right now, and I'm also going to ask everyone watching this. Would you take the serum if you had the opportunity to?
Mm. So my answer would be no, because there's two ways of going about it. There's the way of you could be Steve Rogers, where you could be ultimately good and you just use the serum as an enhancement on your good, or you can be like John Walker, where you can be needing it to fulfill yourself as being this person. And you become more power mad and you become not the person that you had emulated yourself to trying to be.
Mhm.
Similar to how, let's say, for example, in The Incredible Hulk, Bruce Banner got gamma rays by accident because he was experimenting to try and become Steve Rogers, but he ultimately became the Hulk. He knows how to utilize his abilities, and even though he knows that he doesn't have much control, he knows that he's trying to be a good person, you know.
Yeah.
But we see that the other guy who becomes Abomination doesn't have that same mentality. He's power mad. He wants to have this same kind of effect on him, and it turns him into a much more hulking monster, pun intended,
Yeah.
um, than actual Hulk is, you know? So there's always a nice dynamic between two people having the same kind of circumstances with the same type of abilities, having two different paths. You
Mm.
know, one has ultimate good, the other one not so much, you know?
Yeah. So you wouldn't take it because you'd be worried, or just because?
I feel like I wouldn't really need it, you know? I have no need for having a super soldier serum. And if I was in John Walker's place, you know, I would be like, I have to accept that I'm not Steve Rogers because I think him having this psyche about him being Captain America only put gasoline on the fire once he took the super soldier serum because I think it just made him feel more enhanced. And now I am really like Steve Rogers,
Mhm.
but you're really not. You know, you don't have the same moral compass. Your character is not the same as his. And
Yeah.
therefore, you have the more wrong decisions. You know, Captain America doesn't use his shield to kill people. You know, there's a nice video that I've seen where like the difference between Steve Rogers and John Walker is that Steve Rogers uses his environment to be able to attack people and utilize his environment to disable people.
Mhm.
But we just saw that John Walker uses the shield straight up just to hit people and murder them. So there's a huge difference between the dynamics of
Mhm.
each character with
Yeah.
that shield.
I agree. Yeah, I was rewatching some of like uh Captain America, Steve Rogers stuff, and none of
Mhm,
the everything is like he hits him once and then he's done.
mhm,
Like they get knocked out and he runs away and goes to the next guy.
right. By the way, for everybody, I've tried to make sure there's enough Steve Rogers energy around us because I think we all need it right now because we are kind of missing Steve a little bit. So I got a lot of the decked down Steve Rogers memorabilia wearing nice Captain America shirts so that way we can get some of that vibe in there because you know what? I think at this point we miss Steve a lot.
Yeah. I agree. I got what I have back there.
Yeah.
um what was really
But this
weird I thought in
podcast
the
needs to bleed out some more Steve Rogers. So,
I yeah. What I thought was really interesting throughout the episodes um was them referring to him as Steve, which was just interesting because they didn't do that
mhm,
in the movies. It was always Captain America, and just calling him by his name just felt interesting because it wasn't the title I think what we're really learning is the title
mhm,
isn't what's the important part. It's Steve was the special part, which gets me into my
mhm,
answer to my own question because I figured I'd answer it real quick. I would not because Steve was special before he took it when he was just the scrawny weakling before at the beginning of the first Avenger movie,
mhm,
Captain America: The First Avenger. And I wouldn't because I feel like he's a good enough person to strive to be
mhm.
just a normal human, which I think in some ways is more honorable, not more honorable, but he's a normal human. He can't really stick up or he can't really defend himself because he's so like his they make him really frail in the movie.
Mhm.
So he can't really stand up for himself in a fight or anything, but yet he will stand up for what's right, even if that means he's gonna get beaten up. And I think
Yeah.
that's a good enough standard for just everyday people
Mhm.
to strive to be. So I wouldn't because like you, I mean I don't really need to. I wouldn't be a good superhero anyway. I'd be too scared. But um yeah, you don't need it to be a good person.
Right.
you you can be a good person just by being a good person. So
that leads us into episode 5, where we have the big battle between Sam, Bucky, and John Walker, and he ultimately loses the shield. And I honestly thought that like they tore his arm off when they used the vibranium shield and they ripped it off. I thought like they actually ripped his arm off. I was like,
I
oh my
thought so
god,
too.
like he didn't deserve that, but he
Yeah,
didn't. So I was like,
I thought I was like, oh no, gonna have another Bucky just without the
another
metal arm.
vibranium arm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was like, oh no, like I didn't know what to think, and then we found out it was just
Mhm. So then we have the like a quasi trial where like the committee is stripping John Walker of all of his uh duties as Captain America, even though he's like, I'm still Captain America. It's like, no, you're not. No, you're
no.
not. You never were, and you're not gonna be now.
Mhm.
Um, and then we get this interesting scene uh after that trial, which I really want to talk about
With Elaine
because
Bennett.
this is where I'm super mad at Marvel.
Oh really?
Yeah. And I'll tell you why. So, after we get to the trial, after that, we're seeing John Walker is talking to his wife. I thought it was his girlfriend. It's his wife. I don't know how she could be able to stand by him at this point, but you know what? Good for her. She's gonna stand by her man. Totally fine with that.
Hmm.
Um, and he's like trying to grapple with like his motivations, his decisions. Was he justified? Was he right? Blah blah blah. And then we get this woman played by Juliet Louise Dreyfus. I don't know if you actually recognize that that was who it was.
Elaine.
Yeah,
Yep, Elaine
yeah.
Bennis from Seinfeld. When I
Yes.
saw her, I'm like, what's Elaine doing there? That's so funny.
So, and now I have to look it up because the name was even commented on in the episode because it's so freaking long. So her name is Contessa Valencia Allegra de Fontaine. It's a long ass name.
It's a very long name. You did
Yes.
well though, pronouncing it and everything.
Thank you. On my first try. Um, so in the comics, this character, Contessa,
Mhm.
first appears in Strange Tales 158. She is the lover of Nick Fury in these comics. She's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. who becomes the lover of Nick Fury. But then, later on in the Marvel Universe, she becomes Madam Hydra. So she flips to the other side.
Interesting.
So it's very interesting. Now, of course, there are other people who have taken on the mantle of Madam Hydra, but this is like the basic character arc story that we get from Contessa in the Marvel comics. And the reason why I'm upset at Marvel is because Malcolm Spellman, I believe he's the director of the series, had
Okay.
told us back in episode 1 or 2 in an interview that there's going to be a special cameo of a character that's going to come out in episode 5. And he said it's a grounded character that he thinks could be partnered well with Thor. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be like a really nice character, really intense kind of character. This is gonna be interesting, you know? And then we get Julia Louise Dreyfus. It's like, okay, this is a nice little cameo. I didn't expect this, but there's another cameo coming up at probably the end of the episode. I'm gonna watch it. And then we go through the entire episode. And then there's a post-credit scene. Like, wait, it's in here. Go through the post-credit scene. Nothing. No other cameo of any other character. And I'm upset because I fell into the trap again. I fell into the trap again because WandaVision, we didn't really much talk about WandaVision, but I was on the bandwagon of Mephisto's there or Cathan is in there and he's
Mhm.
going to be running the show. It's not just Agatha, it's someone else, blah, blah, blah. I was really getting into it. You know, I was really getting into the speculation. It's like, oh, it's going to be really intense. And guess what? It's just Agatha. Really boring, bland. Not even a Doctor Strange appearance. Also, boo. Um, so I was like, you know what, I fell for it, but you know what, I'm not gonna fall for it this time. It's gonna be a more, clear cut and dry show for these 6 episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm not gonna fall into this trap again. I'm gonna be fine. But then, I heard Spellman say this on an interview. I'm like, you know what? I feel like Marvel and this director kind of learned from the mistakes of WandaVision. I thought maybe, this guy would be telling the truth. He seems like an honest guy. He's not going to try and misdirect us or anything. And maybe he's going to actually give us a character that's going to be good. That's going to be something interesting. And then this happens. And I'm like, that's a nice character, a nice cameo, but like,
Why does it pair well with Thor?
that's what I'm saying. Like, it makes no sense. Like, I'm thinking, because there was speculation about a few characters that were going to be in here. One more prominently is Omega Red. Omega Red is this mutant character that appears later in the 90s comics of X-Men. He's like this mutant soldier, basically. And it made sense if he was in the series, if he was going to appear or whatever. We don't know why he would appear. We would probably find out through context of this show or whatever. But I would be like, okay, cool. Like Omega Red, that's nice because it's been speculating on for months, years almost about this. But then it's Contessa, a character that we have just found out about that has one scene, never again seen in this episode. Like, really? Really, Marvel?
Yeah.
Because you would think also that, Marcus Spellman would have the ability to kind of think, should I say this? Should I say there's a cameo? Do I dare say that? Because I remember the last time that happened, it kind of blew up in everybody's face. Do I dare say this? Do I actually believe this? I feel like he definitely believes that she can be with Thor for some reason. I don't know why.
Maybe we'll find out.
Maybe we'll find out. She was originally supposed to be in the Black Widow movie. That's what I've heard from reports on other news media. And it would make sense because she's like an agent. We don't know what role she plays in the Marvel universe in this show, but she could probably work out with like, the Red Room and, the spies and the agencies with like Russia and the United States and everything. So maybe it would work out. But this, how dare I fall into this trap again? How dare Marvel? And as I said, I think in like a couple episodes ago when we were talking maybe a little bit about WandaVision, I was like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. And this is the biggest shame. I'm going to pull all shame on Marvel. I don't care anymore. I love you, but I hate you now. I hate you because you're saying things like this and you're making fans go giddy and then you just fall flat. It's like you're gonna get a Coke and then you open it and it's flat. Like it's annoying. It's frustrating. And like I'm not gonna say that it's not a bad cameo. I'm gonna say it's a good cameo. And I'm gonna be interested to see what she's gonna be like in the future.
Yeah.
But this, no, no, I don't like it whatsoever.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Well, so I never heard that whenever he said that a couple weeks ago or something.
So like let me just say, like, remember how I was kind of like teasing that there's like the show is gonna go off in the end?
Yeah.
This is what I was kind of mentioning, is that like he was saying that episode 5 was gonna be like the big episode that everybody was gonna like talk about and cry. He said people were gonna cry, and he also said that this was gonna be the episode where like the cameo was gonna happen. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be a really interesting, really good episode. And it was a good episode. But you can't just tease that and not deliver on the promises you kind of made,
Yeah. Interesting. I'm not disappointed at all because I didn't hear about it, so I wasn't anticipating everything you were.
Right.
I'm just more. I don't see how she would fit with Thor. And what is with that the business card?
Well, again, she is this super secret agent that's kind of Hydra doesn't exist anymore in the Marvel universe, but there must be some subset agency or group that she is a part of, She may
Maybe
even
they're
be
still
the
actually
power
dating.
broker for all we know. She could be the one that's doing the whole thing, you know? And maybe she's going to recruit John Walker onto her side almost, you know? On it, inadvertently make him be part of the problem instead of part of the solution like he kind of wants to be.
Yeah. I really
Mhm.
liked how Bucky and Sam kind of like grew together, kind of their
Mhm.
friendship. And I really liked the talk when they were playing like catch with the frisbee.
The frisbee.
I
How
have a
dare
I
you
have
call Captain America's vibranium shield a frisbee, Billy?
I have a Captain America shield frisbee, which is why I said that. Oops. Let's cut that part out.
Nope, we're keeping it.
um.
It's like
Oh,
saying that like the Captain America shield that I have is a frisbee, and we're just gonna yoss it around the yard. Like, no, no, we're not doing that. It's
I
no
went through it
fun
with
doing
yours. You made me sign a contract to touch it.
that.
We really see Sam say a lot of wise things,
hmm
like in this talk. I don't know what you thought about it. And also, Bucky with Sam's sister did not see that coming. All right?
Hey, good for him, man. Good for him.
Yeah. Well, I
He's
didn't see it coming
bold.
because I thought he was gonna end up with the person in the first episode. Like the whole culmination of it, kind of thing, would be he would, at the end, go back and finish the date, kind of thing. That's what I thought it was.
Mhm.
So I just got off guard with this, but I like it so much better.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little funny, you know, and he kind of tries to do it a couple of times, and Sam's like, "What you doing? Get away from my sister," you know, trying to be that brother kind of thing,
Mhm.
you know. And you can tell that she's kind of like, "Ooh, like he's trying to do that," you know.
Yeah.
um,
uh,
but I did like the dynamic that Sam and Bucky are kind of developing their friendship even more now, you know. They're not just being like, "Oh, we're gonna be on this mission once and that's it, part ways, that's it, we're done," you know. They're kind of becoming more friends, they're kind of more allies now.
yeah.
um, they have something to kind of go behind now because now they have Carly Morgenthau they have to deal with. You know, they now have the shield, so now Bucky's happy, Sam's happy because now he's going to be trained to be the new Captain America.
Mhm.
And I did like those scenes where like Sam was training
I
with
love
the
the epic
shield.
training montages. I'm a Rocky fan, so I love the training montages.
We're just gonna put the Rocky theme in there, and it's like Billy's like, "I'm good. This
Oh
is
my
what I
god.
wanted."
If they did that, I would have, oh.
He would have had nerdgasm.
I would have cried. When I was
I
watching it though, I was like, nice training montage.
I did notice that someone on like TikTok noticed that when like Sam was running, he left space on his left for Steve because he's on the right side and Steve has the
Ah,
space on the left.
interesting.
I was like, oh my god, Marvel does it again. Now I love you again.
I didn't notice. Oh, I have to go watch back and watch that.
Yeah, because the camera frame is like Sam's on the right side of the path, but on our left.
Yeah.
Like the left side of him is like nowhere. There's nothing there because like that's usually for Steve to run past.
Ah, I like that. I didn't notice
Yeah.
that. That's so good.
But to kind of backtrack a little bit, let's talk about when Sam came back to the United States, went to Baltimore to talk to Isaiah. Because even he was like, that shield represented only a white man with blonde hair and blue eyes, and it wasn't someone that looks like me, you
Mhm.
know? And he knew that him being a super soldier who was also black really wouldn't have worked well in that situation because the United States wasn't ready for someone like that. And Sam was like, well, times are different now. And he's trying to convince him to say, like, you know, it's not the same time where people aren't going to accept you for being this way. You know, they're going to accept you this way. And Isaiah's like, you don't get it. Like, it doesn't matter if it's then or now. It's not going to be this, like, any different from when it was, you know?
Yeah.
And Sam kind of has this realization about that. But then he also kind of goes on a 180 and goes like, even though I kind of understand where Isaiah is going with, Sam's like, I'm gonna not go with the opinions of those from the past. I'm gonna look forward to the future of what I can do, what
Mhm.
I'm capable of being for myself. Because I think Sam does have that optimism of like the world is a different place.
Mm.
Yes, there is systemic racism, and yes, there are problems in the world. But if he feels that in his heart of hearts, he's kind of convinced himself to be like, okay, maybe there will be an opportunity for me to change things a little bit.
Mm. A better tomorrow.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
because he acknowledges that there's problems and that well, there's a lot of problems that have to be fixed, but he knows that he has to stand up, and be the Captain America, and he can make the change if he does that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Not, I think he says in it something along the lines of all of their sacrifices back then are for nothing if he doesn't keep fighting now,
Hmm.
and I like that.
Yeah.
He's
And
really
it was a really good heartwarming scene. I think that's probably where the scene would be that people would be crying, that Malcolm Spellman said that, like, it was a very touching scene because like we talk about Isaiah's wife passing away as well. So I think like that whole scene was very emotional, and it was a very good scene by both actors to really like hone in on this theme of like, can you really be Captain America in a world like this,
yeah,
with who you are?
yeah,
I think like Sam just needed to kind of like get nudged in the right direction because I feel like in the beginning he didn't really feel like he was up for it. I feel like it wasn't his place to replace him. And I think he
mm,
feels now that like he has this opportunity where he has the ability to not be the same as Steve Rogers, as someone else has already tried to do that, but be someone like Steve Rogers, someone that is a symbol that people can get behind, that people can be inspired by, and someone who can fight for the things that people really value the most.
a new symbol.
Hmm. In a new day and age.
Mm, yeah, and I think the fact that he did turn it down at the beginning just goes to the fact that he is worthy of it.
Hmm.
Kind of like how in Age of Ultron, Avengers #2, Steve goes to pick up the hammer and it nudges a little bit. That worries
Hmm.
Thor, but he nudges it, but then he fakes not being able to pick it up.
Hmm.
So that way he doesn't embarrass Thor, for lack of a better way to say it. But then we find out later on in Endgame that he can really lift up the Thor. He can really lift up the hammer.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly there. I love that. I want it so bad. But uh, like that talks to his worthiness for the hammer.
Hmm.
He didn't pick it up initially, so he didn't need to. Like
Right.
showing
It was
off that he could pick
mistake.
it up didn't make any like he didn't need to do it. But then
Hmm.
when he actually needed it, he used it.
Yep.
That kind of was like with Sam. He didn't want to pick it up at the beginning. Didn't feel
Hmm.
like he should have it. But now it's like he needs to. And I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we kind of now see that Carly Morgenthau has this big plan because now the GRC is taking care of their entire hideout that was in Latvia,
Yeah,
or yeah, Latvia.
I think so.
And now they have this big plan to go to New York to disrupt the vote of the GRC, which kind of didn't make sense to me because the vote is on the relocation of people back to their home countries who had disappeared from for the last 5 years, which
Yeah,
sounds good to me.
yeah. I was confused too about that.
But then it's like I want to blow this place up or I want to kill these people because like I guess there must be some hidden agenda, which we have seen like the GRC is like a militarization project basically, who
Mm,
was backed by this new Captain America. So it made sense in a way. But again, we're still dealing with a person who thinks that violence is the only way that people will listen,
yeah,
no matter what the ideology is. So I guess, it can make sense to someone like that. It doesn't make sense to me, unless there is some ulterior motive in the fine print that we don't know about. about
I
this
don't know.
vote. So
It-
we may find out more in the last episode as to really why they're trying to do this. Is there really some hidden secret that we don't really know about the GRC trying to pull? We're going to bring all these people back to their home countries, but, and there's going to be some reason why it's a bad thing. So,
Oh, I see. Well, the only thing I could think of was they're in charge of it and they didn't like anything they've done so far.
mhm,
So it's not necessarily what they're doing in the moment; it's what they have done.
mhm.
And I thought their plan was to just stop it and like get like Sam to show up and not really do anything, to just use it as like a bait kind of.
Mhm.
So maybe it's not that they're out to get them; they're just out to bait Sam and Bucky to come.
Well, we do see that they're in the park, and like this guy comes up and he brings all these bombs and weapons and stuff. So
Yeah,
obviously there's like a means to an end for which they're trying to use violence. So I feel like there is the motive, like they're trying to do a violent spectacle to ensure that whatever their message is gets across to these people. Not so much as to lure Sam and Bucky out. I feel like that's their last care in the world at this point. I feel like even John Walker is more of a care than Sam and Bucky at this point, because I feel like Carly like understands that like Sam and Bucky are on their side almost, but they're trying to negotiate, a better way to do it, Because remember in episode 4,
yeah.
she calls up Sam's sister in order to meet with him. Because even though Captain America, quote unquote, came up and tried to arrest her,
Sam
she
got
still
through.
wants to connect with Sam and Bucky in some way because she kind of knows that they're not with John Walker or the GRC. They're trying to help her in their own way.
Yeah, and they really connected. It seemed like in their
Hmm.
first conversation,
Yeah,
like
which
the
is a
idea.
shame because John Walker interrupted it so rudely.
Yeah, like Sam did, I think, a great job because I think he he wants that change. I think everyone knows that like behind it is a good idea. They're just going about it the wrong way. And Sam was
Hmm.
doing a really good job of getting through to her that she's doing exactly what she doesn't that she's fighting against, kind of thing.
Hmm.
And Sam was doing a really good job of pointing out the hypocriticalness, I guess, of it. And not
Right.
pointing it out actually. More of letting her figure it out, and Sam is kind of just guiding her along to
Hmm.
figure it out.
Right.
So Sam was doing an excellent job of just listening there.
Yeah, because he's been trained to do that.
Hmm. I am so looking forward to Sam's new suit, though.
That's what's in the box is
I
that new suit.
I can't tell if it's gonna be black or not because like Bucky's arm is black, so like
Mhm.
that, and like Black Panther's suit was black, so it's like every vibranium thing except Captain America's shield has been shown off to be black.
Well,
Like
I
the
think
metal
they
on Bucky's
painted to
arm.
look black.
Oh, was Bucky's arm painted?
Yeah, it was like it was colored in that way, but as you can
Ah,
see, pure vibranium
it's
actually
silver.
looks silver. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so I'm not quite sure. Is it gonna be red, white, and blue? Is it gonna be the red, white, and black that I think is Falcon's normal colors in the
Hmm.
comics, at least?
So I'm gonna try and find.
And his wings are yellow, I think, in like the comic book or the animated TV shows.
So let me show. Let's see if I can find it. An image of what Captain America's suit on Falcon looks like in the comics, at least.
Oh, are you gonna send it to me, or are you gonna show it on the screen?
I'll do both. I will
Okay.
show you both. So in this image, we'll see that it's a little more silverish on the top. Now, of course, they're going to modernize it in a way that makes it look more like the vibranium.
Look more nice.
Yeah, but it definitely looks like there could be use of vibranium. He'll have this. I think he'll have the wings too, because we see in this episode that his wings get ripped off, and he kind of abandons the wings because he's going to be Captain America. But I feel like he's going to be an amalgamation of both Captain America and Falcon. He's going to use the Falcon wings because he is Falcon first. Um, and then he's going to use the shield.
So awesome.
Yeah. And then he has like the Captain America suit combined with the Falcon suit. It's going to look really nice.
Did you send it to me?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Oh, okay. That does look pretty awesome.
Right. So that's probably like the design kind of way that they're gonna make it look like, more silverish on the top, maybe a little red, white, and blue here and there. Because again, it is Wakanda, and Wakanda has the vibranium, but like, do they have the time to like paint it? Probably not.
No.
I feel like there's gonna be a design choice that's gonna be made by Bucky, because he does ask for the favor. He's probably like, can I just have like this exoskeleton suit with wings and we can make Bucky look like this, and then he can be able to make it red, white, and blue, like little tints of it,
I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to picture like how it would look in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, even like the Captain America suit is different, except
Well,
for
it
like
did
the
go
one in the.
through a few iterations during the movies.
Well, I mean, for the most part, except for the one where he's wearing like the spandex when he's putting on the show, and the
Oh
first
yeah.
Avengers movie one. For the most
Mm-hmm.
part, it doesn't really match the main one. None of the suits are spandex,
Yeah.
which is what I'm going at.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think it'll look cool.
I
Whatever
think
they
it.
do, Marvel's great at making things just look awesome.
Oh yeah. I mean, like they made Wanda look like Wanda. Like she looks like Scarlet Witch. She
But
didn't look
awesome.
like the Halloween version. She looked like a real witch. So
Yeah.
they're really good at making things look really good.
Yeah. I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
Mm-hmm. So let's get to the end credit scene, mid
Yep.
credit scene, basically, of this episode, which Billy off camera I had to tell you about because you have not learned yet that there's an end credit scene in the second to last episode of these shows.
I'm a noob, I guess. uh
So if you also haven't seen the mid credit scene, it's basically just John Walker in like a garage or something, and he's formatting this steel shield and he's spray painting it to be red, white, and blue because again, he's kind of lost it at this point. He's like, I am Captain America, and he's gonna keep being this Captain America persona
mhm.
consistently. He's not gonna let up on it. And I think this obsession has now driven him to be like, I want a new shield. So he's making a new shield in his garage. And he's using one of the stars on like his Medal of Honor and putting it on the shield itself. So he'll probably have like a couple of stars around the outer edge of the shield. And so it'll look different than the vibranium shield. And all I gotta say about this post-credit scene is like, yeah, I'm kind of not surprised that he's gonna become the US agent. We kind of all figured that was gonna happen.
Mhm.
But we all know like vibranium versus steel, it's not gonna have the same effect.
Not
Vibranium is
really.
gonna destroy the shield that he made and like that. So
We'll see.
we'll see.
I
I
don't
think
know.
he's gonna look interesting being the US agent because I don't know if you've seen images of the US agent in the comics, but it's like the Captain America suit, but it's all black and it has like black and red for like the US flag on the chest.
I think
So
that's where Elaine comes in.
yeah, so she might recruit him kind of as like an anti-hero. He's thinking he's going to do the right thing, but in reality, it's going to be manipulating to Contessa's plans, whatever she has plans for, whether
Yeah.
she's the power broker or not. We don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
We will see.
All I can think is I want to play catch with the shield. Bucky and Sam look like they're having so much fun. Now that we're talking about the shield. Anywho, that was
It's
off
a
topic.
frisbee.
This is frisbee. Basic. Well, there kind of. It's an amazing frisbee.
Oh yeah, it's a hard-hitting frisbee.
Exactly. Okay.
Any other thoughts on these last two episodes, Billy?
I guess my final thought is we can really see the progression of Sam really coming into his own, which is
Mm-hmm.
nice. And showing that he really is worthy of being Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really interested to see if he'd be able to pick up the hammer or not. I don't
We
want to
probably
say
will
yes
never
or
know that answer.
we probably won't, but like it's interesting because he's really showing that like he is worthy. Like it's just interesting. He's different than Steve.
Yeah. I mean, as Zemo had said, there is no other person like Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited to see the finale. My prediction is, so I was right on the prediction that uh whatever his name is, who is forgettable from WandaVision, Hayward, there we go. I predicted that he was gonna go to jail. He went to jail. I think that John Walker is going to die. He probably will die.
See, I don't know if he will or won't. I'm not sure. Either way, I think prison would be more uh the right punishment. I think.
Because like I think he is just so insane that he thinks of himself so much like Captain America. I think he's so delusional that he feels like the super soldier serum will make him kind of invulnerable, and he's invulnerable because he has like the shield, even though it's not the vibranium shield that he used to have. So I think he's going to make a crucial mistake, and he's going to be fatally wounded and die just because his hubris got in the way of it.
I could see that makes sense. So we'll find out.
We will find out.
I don't know. It'll be interesting.